I'd like to first welcome everybody to tonight's Candidates Night. Again, thank you for your time for coming out to this event. This year we have 2 open seats and we have 3 candidates running for those seats. We have Don Lawley running and also Lisa Pitts. And we have Donna Tompkins as well. Donna unfortunately could not be with us tonight due to a previous commitment. My name is Cindy Sharp and I am the high school PTSA president. I also sit on the PTA Council, and this event is sponsored by PTA Council. For those of you that don't know what PTA Council is, the council represents all 5 of the PTAs here on Grand Island, which encompasses all 5 of the school buildings. So they annually put on this event for the community so that you have the opportunity to come forward and have an opportunity to meet and greet and ask questions of the following candidates. Each of the candidates tonight will have an opportunity to give an opening statement. Their opening statement is limited to no more than 3 minutes. We will start with Dawn first and then move on to Lisa. And then Lisa will have the opportunity to give the closing statement. After the opening statements, each candidate will be given a question and they have a time limit of 2 minutes. We have a timekeeper with us tonight, Mike Oldman, if you'd like to stand and let everybody see you. Mike's a senior, and I really appreciate him being here tonight. He's volunteering his time. There are cards available for the audience. If there is a question that you would like to ask the candidates, I put cards on the back table, and there's pens. Cindy, if you wouldn't mind, if somebody has a card that they filled out, just bring that on up to me.
Okay. Does anybody want one while I look?
Tonight's event is being taped by Mark Gordon. Thank you, Mark, for being here with us, and it will be put on our district's website after tonight's event. So again, I'd like to mention we've got Lisa Pitts, and we've got Don Lawley, and I'm going to begin with Dawn with your opening statement.
Here we go. I'm Dawn Lawley. I guess I'll start with a little bit about myself. I was fortunate enough to move here in the middle of first grade. I started school at Sidway. At that time, it was a K through 5. We had all 3 schools, K through 5 at that time. Went through the middle school, the high school here. And actually this, I think, used to be part of our senior cafeteria when I was a kid. I think if we scraped some paint off, my name might be back there somewhere. I also worked here on the island. If you're a long-time resident, I worked at Ames and the Plaza, and Alice was a big part of the community and the opportunity to work with her. I went to UB, graduated with a degree in psychology and social science. Got married, had kids, had to decide where we were going to raise those kids. We chose together at Grand Island. We both thought it was a great place to raise our children. I have a son, Jake. He's a 2015 graduate of Grand Island. Our daughter, Julia, is a senior this year. And she will be sadly missed. I guess we move on to, an empty nest and why perhaps I'm running. As it started last summer, I think you think about, gosh, what are you going to do? Kirk and I, what are your interests? I think we're so interested in our kids and what we've done in the community. We have coached here. I have coached soccer, coached softball, taught religion, managed Grand Island travel soccer. I've been a part of the school through my children also and myself. It's a beautiful, wonderful experience. And I think I would want to remain that part. I think it's a scary feeling when, you don't have a purpose anymore to come back to the school. I would welcome that opportunity to give back to the community that I truly think is the best around and that I truly love.
Thanks, Dawn. Lisa?
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Lisa Pitts. I will begin with my educational background, which includes a Bachelor's of Arts in psychology from UB. I have a Master's in Counseling Education from Canisius College. I also have a New York State licensed mental health counseling degree specializing in psychiatric and adolescent counseling. I have over 11 years experience in my degree field. It will be one of my intentions to continue to advocate, to continue to enhance the current programs and develop the services that increase the support and wellness of our students, families, and community. At this time, I've had the wonderful opportunity to be a stay-at-home mom, which enables me to be actively involved in my 3 children's educational endeavors. My oldest son is in 4th grade. My younger 2, which are twins, are in 2nd grade, both at Heath Road Elementary. My husband has grown up on the island and is a graduate of Grand Island Schools. We have chosen to raise our family here and to have our children attend the Grand Island Schools. I am honored and take great pride to have the opportunity to have served on the Grand Island School Board for almost 3 years, 2 of which I've been school board president. I am grateful for the continued support of the community and my family. I have decided to run again for a seat on the school board because there are many issues that in my 3 years in which I feel strongly that the board continuity is a necessity. As a cohesive team of 7, it is important to continue that to move this school district forward in the next 3 years. I'm confident that my proven record of advocating in the best interest of children and for the community in the last 3 years is a demonstration of the passion and the seriousness in which I pride myself as a school board member. As an incumbent, I ensure cohesiveness, stability, and consistency in my upcoming 3 years if I were to do it again. In my 3 years as a board member, I've been actively involved with Erie County Association for School Boards, where I sit on the delegate assembly team. I'm a member and take part in training in both New York State School Board Association training, along with the Erie County School Board of Associations. I attend and participate in many school activities as a board member, some of which include graduations, opening day for the schools, moving up days, new teacher orientations, interviewing DECA students, and attending musical concerts and sporting events. All these experiences have given me the balanced understanding to the dynamics in which make Grand Island Schools an outstanding school district and aids me in some of the difficult decisions that as a board member needs to be made when recommendations come to the board throughout the year and during budget season. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Our first question is going to be for Dawn. Dawn, what unique qualities or special strengths will you bring to the table if elected to the board?
It's to me.
It's to you.
Oh, okay. Can you repeat the question?
Sure. What unique qualities or special strengths will you bring to the table if elected to the Board of Ed?
I think, we're thinking about that. I would maybe list some characteristics that I think that are important. I think I'm an effective communicator. I'm a team player. You know, I respect the opinions of everyone, and I think coming to a best decision is hearing everyone out and collaborating that and, you know, making the best decisions for our children. A lot of respect for others. I'm a good leader, building consensus among 7 people. And I think I'm an accurate representation for our community.
Thanks, Dawn. Lisa, what unique qualities or special strengths will you bring to the table if re-elected to the board?
Thank you. I think there are a lot of things that every board member comes with and hopes to have, and that's the leadership and the passion and the dedication to the schools and to the community. I have learned through my 3 years, things that I find to be unique to me would be my ability to have accessibility during the day. I have been able to vote my conscience. I'm accountable. I think I have a proven record for asking questions at the table that maybe people are afraid to ask or have reservations about. And I find great satisfaction in what I do. So for me, it's not work, because passion makes it something that's enjoyable. So I think for me, the uniqueness is to continue to build that transparency, to be dedicated, to be the best school board member possible, and that's being involved that's coming prepared, that's being professional, and being able to listen and build between the community who elects you, which I feel that I've built relationships in the community and trust that allow people to come to me to help me weigh in in my decisions. So I think that I'm confident that those relationships have been built. I have a proven record of 3 years of standing for something which I feel very strongly about, who I am, a professional, working with a team of 7, and that in itself is, I hope, the uniqueness that people will take a look at when voting.
Thanks, Lisa. This next question starts with you again.
Okay.
Could you please give examples of any prior experience sitting on a board? And if not, how will you go about learning your role and responsibilities as a board member? I know you've alluded to this, but.
Well, I have been, I will be finishing up my first term, 3 years as a school board member. I have and can confidently say that it is no easy job, and that if I am reelected, that I will continue to strive to educate myself, because your first 3 years, there was so much to learn that I will dedicate my time and energy to continue to educate myself, to continue to build relationships in the community, and to work on transparency to make sure that's there. So to continue being who I am and what I stand for, which I think is quite clear because I haven't changed, and then to continue to grow, because in this time and age with education, there's always something new, there's always the hot topics, there's always things coming into the schools. And as we can see on Grand Island, our transition in population and the growth we have is something that I look forward to working with and learning more about. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Let me repeat the question, John.
Sure, that'd be great.
Could you please give examples of any prior experience sitting on a board? And if not, how will you go about learning your role and responsibilities as a new board member?
I do not have any experience working on a board. But what I do have, I believe, is the Grand Island experience. Living here almost my entire life, I think I've an accurate representation of our community. I've been involved in it. How I would like to implement that is work with, if I was to be elected, to work with the 6 other people. There's a lot of experience there, and I would welcome and respect any opinions, anything that they can help me with. I think we're a team, and I think that everyone shares. And I've been struggling here a little bit. I think I have a lot to learn with the board, and I can learn from their experience and bring my own voice of the community and advocacy for the children. Simple.
Thank you, John. This goes back to you.
Here I am again.
What specific goals do you hope to achieve once elected to the school board?
Goals. I guess when I think about the goals of the school board, I think I'd like to create a better atmosphere between everyone involved, all the parties. I think we're all here for the same reason. I think we all love the children of our community. I think that, I would represent what is in the best interest of the child. And I'd like to be the voice of the community. I'm out there. I'd like to hear. I'd like to advocate for that. I think that's important.
Thank you. Lisa, what specific goals do you hope to achieve once re-elected to the board for your next term?
Well, I believe that for 3 years there has been a capital project that I didn't begin with, but I was a part of. There was a lot of other changes in the district that, we were a part of, and I would like to continue to follow through and be a part of those goals and the direction that, we're going to. I do believe strongly that there is a focus that needs to be made on advocating and bridging the gap between the schools and the families on Grand Island. I think increasing communication is always something that needs to be worked on, and working towards closing those gaps that we currently are facing. I strongly believe from what has been in the news and what we're seeing is there's no limits or boundaries to drug, alcohol, and mental issues. And I find it essential to be proactive, to support all levels of grades, faculty, and the community, to support and continue to educate what we have to offer, what we can offer, and to continue to build a relationship where people feel comfortable back and forth to share what's going on and not have it divided and drop off when you walk out the doors. It's not school business, it's not home business, and hopefully really build on, eliminating that gap that appears to exist on the island right now. And I would rather have resources and efforts spent to prevent a tragedy and utilize services than to utilize services to support the families after the fact. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. This goes back to you again, Lisa. This next question is, do you see yourself as a representative of the community or as a representative of the school system?
Well, what I find maybe which helps me is my educational background and having experience in the field of education. So for me, I pride myself on having a balance, that I am part of the community. I have young children in the schools, I'm involved in the schools, I see the aspect of what's going on. But I also have learned and respect the opinions of the schools, the administrators, the cabinet members, the faculty and staff on all levels. And for me, I would like to hope that I'm perceived as being a balance of both. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. John, do you see yourself as a representative of the community or as a representative of the school system?
I think to be effective, I think the answer to that is would be both. I mean, you're elected by, the community to represent them. But in order to be effective, I think you have to work as a whole unit throughout the school system to form a unity for the best interest of our kids. I think we need a healthy school district culture, and we need to thrive on that and become one.
Thank you. This goes back to you again, Dawn. What do you feel is the largest challenge facing the school district within the next 3 to 5 years?
Well, challenges. I think every school board. I think budget, everyone's always the hot topic. I'm not sure how much a board controls of those pieces, but I think we owe it to our kids and our taxpayers to spend our money fiscally responsible by, choosing things that make us a school of excellence. Common Core is a huge hot topic also. I believe in high standards for the kids. I think the problem with what's going on is how it's measured. The measurement is what is in question. I think there are changes trying to be made, finally getting teachers, to have input is very important. I don't know why that wasn't, started that way. Changing some testing, changing the assessment company. There's a lot of changes that are happening there, and I think it'll evolve, and hopefully we can get back to, having the value come back to the classroom and not be so concerned on the testing.
Thank you, Dawn. Lisa, what do you feel is the largest challenge facing the school district in the next 3 to 5 years?
Well, I think there's a few things, and I'll just follow up with Dawn's. I think that public education is turning a corner in the right direction, but we have a ways to go. And we really need to focus on having teachers as teaching as their main priority in the classrooms and less testing. We're finally starting to get back local control, which I think is extremely important. And people need to be accountable, and there needs to be a balance. So I think the best way to do that is to have local control when we're holding people accountable for that. We need to make it a top priority to focus on the well-being of each of our students and individuals for who they are and what they stand for, to encourage them to be successful with the involvement of their parents, and support the school as a team, allowing the students to have a well-balanced, successful at every stage in their life, no matter where their academic career is going. We're learning that it's not all college bound, that there's different ways to go, and I think we're heading in the right direction. We have bubbles in our classes that we're watching and monitoring on how to fiscally be able to maintain the programs and to meet those needs of the students, which we're required to do. We pride ourselves on sports and music and many great programs that we have here. And with these bubbles and with the growth that we're seeing coming onto the island and coming into Sidway with our growing classes, we need to pay attention to that. And I think those are a multitude of the challenges all at the same pace. And I think those are things that you just need to understand, be a part of, and to really have a balance with.
Thank you, Lisa. This next question starts with you, Lisa, again. What strategies will you use for good relations with the Grand Island Teachers Association? I'd like to add to that, actually, that this came from, I would like to say with all of the stakeholders, all of the groups, the SRPs and the administration and the Grand Island Teachers Association.
Absolutely. So I think what's important is to be accessible, to have a relationship that I've built that allows people on all levels to come and talk to you, confidently, and know that you're going to respect if they differ, to support them if they need to go somewhere. And it's balance. And what I've learned, and which my education helps me with, is to hear both sides, because there's both sides to every story, and that's where you're going to find out. As a school board member, you have the community's input, and then you have what our policies are, and then you have administrators who know what they're doing, and they're running these buildings, and it seems like not a lot of people are aware of those things. So I think I will continue to be accessible, to continue to welcome people to come talk to me. I love to listen. I don't think responses at all are necessary, but recommending people to get to the areas that they need to get to. I think every stakeholder is invested in Grand Island. And the best thing as a school board member that you can do is respect what they stand for, take it into consideration when you're making a decision, and be respectful. And if there's a disagreement, you move forward and you go on to the next thing.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
John, would you like to?
I would love you to, yes.
What strategies will you use for good relations with the Grand Island Teachers Association, the school-related professionals, and the administration group here in our district?
The strategy, I guess open communication between all of the parties is what's really important. I'm sorry, can't hear me, can you? I think, we're all here to advocate for our children. Teachers are you teach a love of children. I think every stakeholder, from administrators to bus drivers to teachers, I think SRPs, I think we have a common bond, and I'd like to use that common bond to cultivate good relationships. I think it's important.
Thank you.
I'm not getting a 30-second sign. No sad faces for me.
Okay, John, then we start
All right.
with you again. What do you envision the relationship between the school board and superintendent being? And then part B to this is, how will you contribute to establishing an effective governance team between the superintendent and the board?
Okay, so the first part of that question is how I envision, especially a new superintendent coming in. I believe that we need to foster a great relationship, mutual respect. I think each of one of us have a valuable opinion and can learn from each other the needs to move forward with the vision we have for our children. What was the second part?
How will you contribute to establishing an effective governance team between the superintendent and the board?
Open communication, I believe, would be the best way to do that.
Thank you, Dawn. Lisa, do you want me to repeat that?
Sure.
What do you envision the relationship between the school board and the superintendent being? And then again, how will you contribute to establishing an effective governance team between that superintendent and the board?
Well, fortunately, I was part of the process that was choosing the new superintendent. So I feel that I have little information and experience that takes me ahead of the game, where I've had the opportunity to interview them, sit down, listen to the stakeholders. So knowing that information, valuing that is something that will give me and continue to give me the opportunity to continue to build relationships with him. I think working with the last 3 years with some changes, but consistently the last year with the team of other 6 members, we have worked through some difficult times and have found some cohesiveness to respect the superintendent, respected administrators and governance teams, at the same line knowing our boundaries as a board member. They're hired to lead this district. We are board members that are to take a step back and look at the recommendations that come to us. And I think that piece is very critical in having a productive superintendent, a very well-functioning school board relationship with the governance team and the superintendent, and communication. I mean, hands down, it is communication across all levels at all times, no matter whether you're president, vice president, or a team of 7 working with the superintendent of schools, the cabinet, and administrators. So it's free, it doesn't cost anything, and we all have it because we're all professionals, so thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Back to you again.
Sure.
And I'd just like to take a moment. Does anybody have any questions that they'd like to write down? I'm down to my last couple of questions before
There's
closing statements. So now's your last opportunity to get your question to Ms. Montana back there. So Lisa, what are your priorities for the district? You may have alluded to some of these already. Some of these questions may be a little redundant, but it's an opportunity to expound again. What are your priorities for the district if re-elected, and what are your priorities for the board in particular?
I'll start with the board priorities. I think continuity, I think continual board growth in what we want as a board, what we need as a board, and I think after doing our last board evaluation, that it would be wonderful for me to continue to be a part of that, to evaluate what we need as a board of 7, where we have to grow, what we've done well with, and to set that up and to be a part of it would be wonderful for me, and I would appreciate that opportunity to do that. And the second part of that question, if you could repeat it, I'm sorry.
Basically, priorities for both the district and the board.
You know, and I think they're along the same lines. We, you know, hopefully we'll have a consistent, you know, board of 7 who is hired and appointed a superintendent. And I think those goals that we are established and evaluated ourselves on need to move forward with the goals that the superintendent has for us to balance them for the district. A 5-year plan is something that we just really need to move towards, if not 10. And I'm confident that we will have that opportunity to do it. We'll do it well. And a lot has come through these last years through a lot of difficult transitions that we've had to go through. So being positive and attacking those goals and attending to those evaluations that the community administrators have set for us with their responses. So
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
John, to you,
Yes.
what are your priorities for the district if elected, and what are your priorities for the board?
My priority for the district would really to see a healthy working relationship between all the parties. you know, advocate for our kids. You know, I don't think I have all the greatest answers in the world, but I think I'm here for the right reasons. I know I really want to cultivate a mutual respect for each other on the board, you know, listen to everyone's opinion, you know, work together as a team, and take advantage of any kind of required training to help me through this process.
Thank you, Dawn. I think it's back to you. This is my last question.
We've got one more.
One more opportunity, okay.
You're killing me.
Dawn,
She's really pushing
I'm
this.
dying.
could you tell us how
I'm not
you,
doing well.
you're doing great. How do you personally plan to make a difference if elected to the school board?
I feel like I just repeat myself, you know. My personal plans, you know, when thinking about doing this, you know, wondering, I think people ask me, what are you, crazy? What are you doing? And it might seem right now that I don't know what I'm doing, but I think my values stand for themselves. I'm honest and loyal and here for the right reasons. I might not be answering these questions all that great, but I truly am here to cultivate a really great experience and promote what we already have, a school of excellence.
Thanks, Dawn. And Lisa, how do you personally plan to make a difference if re-elected to the school board?
Like, first, to make a difference, you need to build a relationship with the 6 other board members that you have. And, sorry, I coughed, so I shut it off, so I'm not interrupting, so I'll repeat myself. Personally, I think to move anything forward is to have a good working relationship with 6 other members, and I think that's important to start and to be successful with anything. I have a lot of experiences that I never even thought that I would get in 3 years that I have, and I want to continue to grow. It's not work for me. I don't have an agenda. I have young kids in the schools. I love education. I'm passionate about the schools. I'm passionate about where this district can go to. I'm excited. I want to be a part of where this district's going with a new superintendent, to be honest. And I'm hopeful that can be done. So I think personally for me is what I have to offer, what I love is my passion. Because this passion, it's not a job, it's not work, it's not hard. It's something that I love. And when you have passion, you do it, and I think you set a standard, which I have for myself, sometimes a little bit higher than it should be, but to continue to be better and better and better. And I am not perfect. It has been 3 years, which I have learned a lot, and I have a lot to learn, and I look forward to having the opportunity to be able to grow. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. And one last question before closing statements. This question will go to you, Lisa. With the opioid addiction in the news so much, how can the schools help to minimize this?
That's a good question. I think that first comes with education. Education is something that is the first step. I think people need to educate themselves with the stats and the facts of what we are experiencing on Grand Island, and not to be embarrassed or not to hide from it, because it lessens who we are. It makes us stronger to be able to say, this is what we're facing. Let's spend our services that we already have and resources that are available to us to educate, be proactive, and to move forward. One Island, one team. I mean, great amount of energy and work goes into that. And I think the first step with everything is educating, knowing, awareness that there's a problem, because you can't help what you think isn't happening. And it's happening, and it's here. And we need to face it, we need to educate, and we need to be supportive. And I think we will be a better community and district for that. I think Ignorance it gets you nowhere. To hide behind something and to think that it's not being there and it's not happening is a disservice to the community and the children and the families on Grand Avenue. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. John, would you like
I
me
would.
to? With the opioid addiction in the news so much, how can the schools help to minimize this?
Well, I think bringing the awareness that the problem exists is the first step. In doing that, I believe we do have something to address that. Is it the 191 team? That it's, and I believe being a part of that and, is something that we need to be concerned for our children and to advocate and let parents know that this exists out there and to let the parents know we're here to help. The school district is aware of the problem and do whatever we can to help that situation.
Thanks, Don. Okay, Lisa, we're going to start with you with closing statements.
And I should not get a 30-second or a little frowny face because I really timed myself and credit my silence off. I think that clock's off. No, I'm only kidding. So in closing, I want to first thank the PTA Council for organizing Meet the Candidates Night. Along with everyone who took the time to come out on this wonderful warm evening to attend this. I would also like to thank the Superintendent of Schools, Janet Schuster, the District Clerk, Administration, the faculty, the staff, and the community, and my fellow board members for their continued support. There was a lot to learn as a newly elected board member, and there was a lot more to learn. I look forward to having the chance to build upon my current knowledge and experience as a board member. It would be an honor to continue to serve alongside my fellow board members and the employees of the Grand Island Schools and be a part of making this a championship school district. In doing so, I will continue to promote school, teacher, and parent communication to allow student success. Our community is our biggest asset. I will continue to be available to all stakeholders to further promote transparency between the schools and the community and the board. It is the taxpayers' right to know how our tax dollars are used and in the school districts they are supporting. Thank you again for attending this evening. I hope when you come out on May 17th to support the school budget that you keep in mind that I have not wavered and I've demonstrated in myself a consistent and professional manner in the last 3 years that I've been board member and being a part of making decisions that are in the best interest of all students and the faculty, along with finding a balance to allow feedback from the community while doing so. I appreciate your support in the upcoming election. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Don?
Okay, I know this isn't gonna be long. I struggled a little bit, but I hope it comes out that, I'm here for the right reasons. I really think I can represent our community. I grew up here. I love it here. I love our children. I love being part of this. I have a passion for it. Might not have shown the way I wanted to tonight, but that's okay. I welcome the opportunity. I will talk to you one-on-one, maybe get a little more comfortable. This is my first big thing up here. Maybe not my last. Maybe I'll be sitting next to Lisa or Donna and 5 other members. But I would, come out and vote. Vote your conscience, I am a mom of this community, and I'd like to represent that and for our community and our children. Thanks for coming out. It's a beautiful day. Everyone's glad I'm done talking. I know that. So, have a great night. Thanks for coming. Go GI.
At this time, I would hope that the audience would give a round of applause for our two candidates. Thank you for